Now it's going live.
1.
We're live. Welcome to the Watchman Live with Randy Davis.
There comes a time in every parent's life when they have to make a decision. Turn the other cheek or stand up for what they believe in. This is the battle of a father whose determination is so great, it's unlike anything else. A love so strong that sets new boundaries. A man whose sole purpose in life is to heal the parents, to better the children, to change our future. A battle so great, only one man stands up to the challenge, and this is his battle.
I have a dream today. One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that we're all created equal, but that's not how it seems. Well, Billy's got a vision that's few and far between. Come on. March 26, 2005 was the first time deep inside I really felt alive when I held you in my arms and I looked into your eyes. Being there for you in life, there's no doubt in my mind. I always wanted a family and to do what's right. I never would have imagined that my kids would pay the price. Too many sleepless nights, well I guess that's life. So if you're a real man who ain't afraid to fight, join hands with me and stand up for father's rights. Law-abiding citizen, yeah that was me. In 2006 I got swept off my feet. Rubbed through the system with no freedom and no speech. I got me a voice now, so now I'm here to teach. No more four walls, God led me to the streets. Son, it's time to preach. At first you gotta believe the truth will prevail, not only through your speech. Come on.
Say tonight about a father trying to custody of his daughter. Today, with his husband and other dads rallying for father's rights. Now, earlier this month, we told you my son's story. A judge ordered him to hand his daughter over to her mother for unsupervised visits, even though he convicted of child abuse. Last September, a driver found Merklin's 3-year-old daughter along the road in a Arapaho reference. Her mother was so drunk she was passed out in the ground. Merklin doesn't understand why she still allows unsupervised visits after putting their daughter in danger.
What do you know about protesting all alone for your son? Till you finally get the story heard by Fox 31. Now look at how far I've come. Deadbeat dad, nah, I ain't the one. Lawyer after lawyer, judge after judge, and you wonder why we're pissed off and hold a grudge, alienate us from our kids, and yeah, that's a fact. Well, this is what happens when real dads lash back. 68 times in court in 1 year, so if you walked in my shoes and we shed the same tears, face the same fears, now I see it's clear, you don't have to do it alone, man. We all here, every child needs both parents, why that's so hard to see. Take yourself out of the equation, it ain't about you and me. So if you're a real man who ain't afraid to fight, join hands with me and stand up for father's rights. Come on! This is the hardest decision that I've ever had to make. To give up all rights or just leave it up to fate. In this woman's state, how much more can we fucking take? Feels like the last supper, but I still have an ache. This is one battle that I know I have to fight. I ain't giving up my rights in the CF5. You tried to destroy your lives, so forget your mom and K. White. They won't hear me in this court, but they gon' hear me on this mic. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Blackburn.
Thank you for listening in today on Future of Our Children Radio Network. I'm Randy Davis, the Watchman. I have to thank Ted Fogg. He is our engineer today. Today's show, it's 10 December 2017. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be on until 11. And what we're going to be going over is the death of the 3-year-old Mariah Wood in Onslow County. We're also going to be going over other counties, especially now that they've angered me. And folks, I don't know how to explain everything that's going on here except to tell you that when the government protects something, it destroys it. It is the exact opposite. Everything is now inverted. Everything is upside down. Everything I grew up believing is completely upside down. I grew up thinking that you could trust the cops, and I watched videos today of a man being murdered. He was murdered in a hotel hallway, and no other way to just say it. I like firearms. I have firearms, shoot AR-15s, but I watched cops shoot a guy 4 or 5 times, point-blank range almost, no more than 20 feet away, and just killed him. He had done nothing. I watched the same thing with John Livingston in Johnston County. And I'm just going to tell y'all, before I even get into this show, if you will, law enforcement, judges, and zealots as attorneys and so-called social workers have run amok. Now, I don't know what it was like when my forefathers fought as Croatan Indians in the Revolutionary War, the war for the independence of this country, but I have to feel that what we're now living in is what they were trying to get away from. We are in a state of absolute despotism. And it's simply put, it's just not on TV every day. But it is here. You just don't see it in some of the pockets where you are. Maybe North Carolina is a bellwether state. Maybe it goes first as far as the depravity goes and the falling away of morals and values and common sense. But you know, we were raised to have common sense. Yeah, we're Native Americans. We're Croatan Indians. We're used to being dogged out and talked trash about. But I've never seen it so that it doesn't appear to matter what color you are. You can be shot. You can be arrested. Your stuff can be searched. People can take your children. Just take your children. You know how many friends I have, folks, that they, for whatever reason, maybe they had one parent die and another parent went bad or went off the rails for a little while, drank too much, did things they shouldn't have done, and the grandparents raised them. And they're really good human beings now. They were good kids. They didn't get tortured and treated badly with the grandparents. They didn't get destroyed for money with the grandparents. And you know what the grandparents were paid when they did that? Not a dime. Now, how is it that, to get into this, before we get to the Mariah Woods situation and why it's all happening, think about the fact that there was no federal income tax until 1913. It was supposed to be a simple matter of, we're going to do it for a little while so we can win the war. It was temporary. But now, money flies out sideways. Taxes everywhere. But what do we get for it? We get Social Security. Everybody knows that's going to be trashed. And everybody talks about Title IV now. But let me just tell you about Title IV. Title IV of what? When we're getting down to Onslow County and what's going on down there. And I've been locked up in Onslow County, by the way. See, there's some places I do know the insides of their jails. They were actually nice to me there. They actually fought against what was putting me there. And I have them videoed saying it's your sheriff, Sheriff Thornton's fault. Don't blame us and don't sue us when you sue him. So I'm not going to sue Onslow County. But what's happened is it's not Title IV. It's Social Security fraud. See, I think we've been doing things all wrong. And everybody always asks me, well, Randy, what are you going to do? How do we stop this? And I got to tell you, I'm one of the kids who really did look in and try and research why the sky was blue. I wanted to know why the sky was blue. I wanted to know the physics behind it, the science. I wanted to know the chemistry, if any, behind it. Not that I was a smart kid, I wasn't. The whole rev it up thing, look, my license plate when I lived up in D.C., it was revved, R-E-V-V-E-D. Why? Because anybody that grew up with me, they didn't have a word for it then, but it was ADHD. I'm wide-ass open. I have one speed all the time. I cannot concentrate at a slow speed. That is the absolute truth of me. And I drink constantly coffee, caffeine, nicotine, whatever, and it slows me down so that I can be able to communicate with others. But I just go wide open all the time. That's how my mind is. It doesn't mean that there is something mentally wrong with me. It just means that I'm different. But if you want me to crash and burn, just imagine it's kind of like riding a bicycle. And some kids now, they're getting prescriptions for things they don't really even have, I'm sure. But just imagine riding a bicycle and try to ride it so slow the wheel barely turns, you'll just fall off. That's how I am. If I ride fast, I stay straight and true. If I go down real slow and people start to talk like this, I want to cut my own head off. I can't handle it. So I may jump around a little bit. I may go a little bit fast. Bottom line is, I'm grateful for everybody that's on listening. I'm grateful for the opportunity that Ted Fogg is helping us out here. I want to thank Future of Our Children Radio Network, which was the brainchild of Neil Shelton. Neil Shelton, formerly of North Carolina. Brian Kenter. The late Dominic Tomasello, the one who was with us and our friend, and we've had many long conversations. But because of just what I'm going to go over tonight, he's no longer with us anymore as our friend or otherwise. He's deceased. He's gone because this system pushed him over the edge. It took his life. Brian Kenner, it didn't take his life, but it's changed him. He spent $3 million. $3 million. Several trips to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, Ohio State Supreme Court. He's been everywhere with it. And he fights constantly every day. His own family doesn't understand him, much like mine didn't in the beginning. But people have a way of coming around folks whenever it happens to them. Because these same people who will do this to children in family court or child protective services, they'll do it to the elderly. Because they also have adult protective services. So I guess what I'm talking about tonight is the collusion, the monster that is, how it happens, and by the end of this, you're going to understand what I think, and I want to put it all out there tonight and see what everybody believes, but I think is a way to combat it, crush it, and bring it down. Bring it down because of its own weight, its own filthiness, its own nastiness. It is evil. It cannot be reformed. You cannot wash a turd. You're not going to change these people. You're not. These are people that started out with a good agenda. It really was. And I'm sure there's families that need help. But if you destroy 10 families just to help one, it's just like locking everybody in the room up when one person has drugs. Not everybody committed the crime. Not everybody's selling cocaine or meth or whatever it is. But you don't put innocent people in jail in order to make sure you got all of the people that weren't. Now, for whatever reason, family court is different. They just make a decision, and here's this hierarchy sitting behind a bench in their black robe, Then you have all of these people waiting and watching, and they're learning how to do this because a lot of times people don't understand why they're even sitting over there in that little jury box. But these social workers, even attorneys, they have to shadow what's going on. They have to watch what's going on. They have to learn how to do what it is they're to do. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is a tough and brutal job if you're going to follow the mandate handed down by some of these DSS directors and so forth, because they're doing things that are not natural, not normal, and they're financially based and power-based and based on keeping themselves relevant. See, there's some of us, and there's some who will call in tonight who will tell you, none of us want to be so-called advocates. But what do you do when you see your fellow man and you see other children being destroyed? Because the very people who become quote-unquote social workers, they're supposedly there in order to help others, to help children, to help adults. But then if you're a quote-unquote advocate, then you're bad. They're good. So you see, it's their brand. Their brand of good is good. Your brand of good is not good. And no matter that we've lived it and they haven't, we're wrong and they're right. This is where we've got to flip the script on these bastards. Yep. Lee County, North Carolina. I'm sure you're watching The Watchman. How ironic is that? You're watching The Watchman. And wherever you are watching The Watchman, you can kiss my Croatan Indian ass. Let's take that to court December 19th. I know you love the screenshot stuff. You love to record things. I'm not in Lee County. You don't have any jurisdiction over me whatsoever. I really don't care, but you should expect me to be there. You can subpoena me in my records. You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm going to damn well be there. And before that, I'm going to be all over everywhere I can, tell them exactly what you did. And I'm going to save you to last. You in Lake County are going to be last. But I'm not going to forget you. I'm just going to make you watch The Watchman for the whole 2 damn hours before I get to you. Tonight, folks, there's a lot of people get on here. They scream, they yell, they do whatever it is they're going to do. I'm not normally one of those people. I don't want to be one of those people. I truly don't. But I'm telling you, some of us have been involved in this so long, and it's the only reason that we actually know each other. It is because we were pounded by an abusive system. A system that destroys children in the name of protecting children, which has absolutely no basis in fact. None. Now, the Fayetteville Observer, right now they're doing a series, and I believe it's Brian Mims, but 120 child deaths in North Carolina that they're looking into. And how many of the 120 child deaths in North Carolina would you think that CPS had been involved with them in the last year? How about all 120? Is that just bad luck? No. Foster care. Wow, foster care. Sounds so good. And we see these cute little Christmas trees with I want to adopt a baby, and look at me, I'm in foster care. Heaven, I'm going to train to be a foster parent. Right. Some foster parents are just perverted, pedophilic, crazy bastards. Wanda Sue Larson comes to mind. Those of you who don't know her, we'll have a little something on her. Then some are, I'm sure, well-meaning, and some make a good living at it, like Miss Chevy Moore in Wake County. I believe she's a Haitian refugee that doesn't pay taxes. Got like 9 cars, has all sorts of stuff going for her. Lives in a double wide bed, has like 9 cars, has a group home where they assimilate Syrian refugees. Imagine that. Lutheran Services, good old Lutheran Services, funds both of them. She commingles them. Isn't that amazing? Haitian refugees that shouldn't be here. Paid to assimilate Syrian refugees. Neither one of them our culture, but yet they get to take care of foster kids. Wow. How damn stupid are we? How stupid are we to pay for that? Folks, tonight, my goal is, number one, to poke the bear with Lee County, Wake County, and all the other DSS directors, attorneys, everybody out there. Because evidently I'm known when I walk in and make people sign stuff. And I'm tired of this shit. I really am. I like to help individuals, but I want this thing to go way bigger. And the way that I may have to do it is go to jail or get shot in the back by some of the son of a bitches. But at this point, I really don't care anymore. I really, truly don't. I'm not going to talk about what happened to me until I show you actual documentation of it. But I'm going to bring on a couple of people and I want to talk about Mariah Woods. I want to talk about how did this whole thing happen. Then I want to talk about some things going on in Union County. So we're going to bang around a little bit. But let me just bring on a caller right now. I'm unmuting 44 here. You there, 44?
Yes, sir.
83. Hey, what do you have to say about, and here's the thing, you may not want to give your name, because believe me, there's subpoenas and motions to show cause for gag order violations, contempt of court, wanting people's Facebook records, wanting their messenger records, wanting their emails, wanting their cell phones, wanting their phone calls. All of this bullshittery, all from Lee County DSS and several DSS. They think they can just gag us. They can gag this. I got something to gag them. But on a serious note, does anybody, are they just trying to scare us? I don't know. But you may not even want to give your name. If you do, that's a bold move. But what do you know, and what makes you do what you do, and what is it you've been doing this past week?
Well, Randy, you know that I'm one of the few people just like yourself and others who are in this movement who really don't care about gag orders and everything like that. This is Jason Shoup. I really don't care. They can subpoena me all they want to. I have a winning track record. I've never lost. I haven't even lost my own personal case. But I am one of the few people who have been able to sit in on the Mariah Woods case because I am reporting this stuff back to not just to the county government, but I'm also reporting this stuff to Senator Tamara Behringer and also Senator Harry Brown, because they're very interested in how all this stuff slipped through the cracks.
And what do you see as happening right now from, as much as you can tell us, there may be some things you can't say. And nobody wants to hurt a case, that's for sure. But some things for the public good should not be gagged. So, there's people involved. There's a family involved. There's siblings involved. And a 3-year-old is dead, for God's sake. Why is this 3-year-old dead, and what do you see that's happening there in Onslow County? And how can the rest of us help with these senators and these people who are in responsible positions?
Well, this is what I can say so far. Alex Woods, the father, he had court last week. The judge on the bench was Judge Sutton. Randy, you know him very well.
Yes, I do.
Court started at 10 a.m. As soon as court started, the DSS attorney went ahead and asked for a closed session under North Carolina General Statute 7B801, which is for confidentiality of the case. It's an ongoing investigation. Also because incriminating evidence, there was multiple law enforcement agencies, federal and state and countywide, that testified during this case. So because it is an ongoing investigation, I can't release those names or the personnel or their statement. I can state this. The father's attorney is John Paul Sabah here in Onslow County. He is a really, really good attorney. The father did not look for this man. The father doesn't need to know how John Paul Sabal became his attorney, but that's who the father has. Now, here's an interesting thing for I want you to think about. The mother's attorney, and the mother was present with her best friend, was Mr. Rainier, who is a halfway decent attorney here in Onslow County. The maternal grandmother, she had, i.e. past tense, custody of the two boys. Her attorney is Mr. Rainier. Is that a conflict of interest for the mother and also the grandmother to have the same attorney?
Of course it's a damn conflict of interest. I don't think it matters anymore in family court, though. Hey, to each his own, I guess.
The guardian ad litem's involved in this case. Ernie Wright, he is the attorney for the guardian ad litem program. Ernie Wright is a very, very good attorney. I want everybody to know that. Ernie Wright is going to look after the best interest of these children. He is a fine man. I honestly think that he needs to run for county commissioner. He knows I want him to run for county commissioner, but he's not going to. But that's the attorney for the guardian ad litem. Rusty, I forget Rusty's last name, but he is the director of the guardian ad litem program. And a piece of garbage, which he knows I think he's a piece of garbage. His name is Andy Webb.
Yeah, I told Rusty he was a piece of, I told him he was a piece of shit. I used the word shit. He's a piece of shit. He and Charlie Steinbrecher.
Both of them were present in court, including the children's actual guardian ad litem, which I'm not going to release that individual's name for confidentiality because she is protecting the children.
Right.
Now, here's the funny thing. This case has been going on for roughly 2 weeks now. 1, 2,
Correct.
3, 4, 5, 6 DSS social workers showed up to testify in court. It's only been going on for 2 weeks. And some of these names,
now, how
you,
did
Mr. Davis, and some of the other
CPS,
people.
How did they get involved with 6 of them in
well, they
such a
thought that they were
short
going to
period
bring
of
out the
time?
big guns, Mr. Davis. And some of these names are going to sound pretty familiar to you. So they have social worker Anita Green, Miss Lee Parrott-Tart, I can't even pronounce, Lepierel, Mr. Jones, Miss Cynthia Jackson, and here's 2 names that are going to sound really familiar to you. Miss Kim Bailey, who is the intake foster care social worker supervisor, and Onslow County Director Heidi Bauer.
Yummy.
Those last
wow, they brought out all the big guns for this case. Yeah, all you have to do is die to get some attention as a child in Onslow County, evidently.
Well, kind of like the Union County case where they're finding the same names in multiple cases. Heidi Bauer and Kim Bailey were both found guilty in mine and my wife's federal lawsuit for committing perjury and withholding evidence.
That's normal, though. Perjury doesn't count for them. They're above the rest of us. You know that. They have a right to lie, don't they?
Yeah, that's what they thought in federal court until they had to hand over that nice little check to me and my wife.
Wow. You know, and look, I got to tell y'all, I want to take time because I get messages, and I'm going to read one. It says, don't badmouth social workers and law enforcement. There are bad apples in every bunch. When your elderly mother needs placement in a nursing home, be sure not to ask a social worker for help. They are corrupt. Or if you get robbed at gunpoint, don't call the police. They are corrupt. And to that person, I just want you to understand, you have no clue. You are ignorant to the facts, or you're a social worker who's screwing a cop. Because I have examples of some nasty-ass social workers and some filthy, rotten, corrupt cops. Are they all bad? No. But let me tell you something. They don't put all the teachers, they don't put all the women teachers on TV and call them all bad every time a 30-year-old teacher screws a 15-year-old. But I can tell you the teacher that did it goes on there. So I call it like I see it. And people say one bad apple doesn't spoil the bunch. Well, I like to fish, and I'm going to say that even if you love fish, if you come to get my fish and there's a whole boatload of them, and the boat's just brimming with fish, just falling over the sides, and there's one rotten, nasty one with maggots crawling through his eyeballs with a buzzard sitting on him in the middle of them, I bet you don't want any of the other fish. So, that being said, I've got hundreds of videos of shitty, nasty, corrupt, evil, and collusionist social workers and cops. So, yeah, go back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So you go ahead and get back to why we have a dead 3-year-old with so many wonderful protecting and serving cops and these lovely social workers we have.
Well, the last part that I can speak about on the record, this happened outside the courtroom. Once the case was heard for the day, we do go back to court next week to have it revisited and stuff. But what I can say on the record is the biological mother, Miss Christie, she walked out of the courtroom first. I was already out of the courtroom with some family members of Mr. Woods. And Miss Christie walked out of the courtroom with her girlfriend. After that, Miss Heidi Bauer and her staff walked out behind her. The mother, Miss Christie, who everybody has a feeling that she is involved with the death of Mariah Woods, she turned around, went straight to the director, Miss Heidi Bauer, and said, "Miss Bauer, my disability is hindering me. What can I do?" And Miss Bauer gave her a hug in the middle of the hallway, which there's already a subpoena for those cameras and video. Miss Bauer hugged her and said, "We will work through this." There was no love shown for the father. There was no compassion. There was no, "I'm sorry for your loss," by the director of social services, who is not a suspect in any way, shape, or form for the death of his daughter. But the director herself can hug a suspect.
Oh, and love on them. And let me just say this. Nobody ever hugged me. And I remember being in there. After parents would roll over, you'd be in court and you're watching. And they just rolled over and agreed to sign every damn nasty lie that social workers make. They did, we're going to just stipulate. And folks, if you don't know what stipulate means, it means you're just agreeing to everything they say. And after they would stipulate, boy, the judge, they'd have a big clapping session there in Sampson County and the other counties that I've court watched in. And yay, they're all going home. They're going home with strings on them. They're going home with continuing jurisdiction on them. They're going home labeled for the rest of their lives. Why? I'm telling you, nothing in the world made me madder than to see this bullshittery. And that is exactly what it is. We have absolute despotism. If we had juries in the court or juries overseeing them, I would be okay with what goes on because a judge would be held accountable. We do not. We do not, folks. Why? The first jury was in 1215. Why don't we have them in these? Beats me. But yeah, at CPS, there should have been a bunch of people involved in this, though, Jason. How? Because people think, oh, well, they just got a report after she's deceased. But when did the court get involved? How long ago was the court involved? And how thoroughly was the court involved? And what do you think played a role in the fact that this little girl was where she shouldn't have been and died in the first place?
Well, in cases like yours and mine, they should have never been involved in our life in the first place. In this case, the father did everything in his power to get the department and law enforcement involved in this. He wrote numerous letters, numerous phone calls, which were presented as testimony of child abuse and neglect going on in the home with the mother, Christy, and also with the boyfriend, Earl. DSS never looked into these cases. They never went to the house to check up on these children, not once. So DSS has a major, major black eye here in Onslow County because of this. Yeah, they're trying to...
I would say they don't have a black eye. They've got child blood all over them. Why? And now, let me ask you, why do you think, because I'm seeing that now, I'm seeing it in William Wake County. Why do you think numerous cases, and I see them all the time, why do you think they pick the crappy parent and place the kid with the most dangerous and unstable, unsafe situation? Why do you think DSS does that? Are they bad judging of character? Are they, what is it?
Complete laziness. Nothing more, nothing less. Just complete laziness.
I think it's different. I think they do it on purpose. And I'll tell you why I think they do it on purpose. And then by the end of this, I'm going to tell people how I think we beat them. And I'll tell you why I think things are the way they are and why there's no justice. But I'm going to tell you right now that I believe they do it because the good parent is going to take the child, get the child therapy, treatment, help, tend to the child, and stay away from the system. The crappy parent like these were, the stepdad, so-called, and the mother, they're going to screw up continually, guaranteeing. For a 3-year-old, even if you go to the threshold of 18, which now they can go to 21 in foster care or jurisdiction of the court, that's guaranteed income for a county. Guaranteed social services money, which is Social Security money. It's not Title IV fraud. It's Social Security fraud. See, once you stop saying Title IV and go to the real culprit here, because it's Title 19, it's Title 7, Title 9, it's several titles. But when you tell a 65-year-old man that doesn't have any kids that, hey, they're using your money to pay these 12 behemoth social workers over here that are so nasty looking, this is the only job they could ever get. This is the only job where they can laze around and do nothing and not be certified and get paid. Hey, I saw Lee County's looking for one right now. Starting pay is like, I think it was $48,000, $48,000 to $63,000 to go be lazy and take people's children and lie. Wonderful. Don't even need certification. So I think that it's intentional. I really do. And to the Woods family, this breaks my heart because this could have been my daughter. This could have been your daughter out there if you're listening. And if you think, well, I'm just not going to get involved. I've even had some of my people say, Randy, why are you still doing this? Because those of you that don't know, I don't have a case. My case now is suing them. That's the only case I have. They're on the retreat, not me. But why am I still doing it? My daughter's over 18 now. We won. I'm free. Why would you do it? Because I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you can watch what happened to this three-year-old little girl, who I can imagine her walking home from school, off the school bus, as she grew up. I can watch her at 3 playing with her animals, talking to her dad on the phone, coloring, enjoying life. And then I can see her being brutally assaulted and taking her last little breath. And then a common son of a bitch throwing her into a cold-ass river to try and hide it. And you know what? CPS, Onslow Department of Social Services, if you can sleep at night, it's because you've lost all compassion. You've lost all common sense and have no wisdom. You're not of God. You're not from the Creator. You are a whoremonger. That's all you are. That is all you are. I realize there are times to help people, but if you're going to help them to death, you need to leave them alone. This is insane what is going on. and how they get away with it. And you know what? It's because of these gag orders. It's that, hey, we're going to have no transparency. Everything has got to be confidential. Yeah, my mugshot went up, and it wasn't confidential. Hey, how is it when they do appellate court cases? Well, speaking of gag orders, they put everything in the case of a juvenile in there, and then they use the initials. Everybody knows who it is, so how is that not a violation? I don't know. We're going to get into Lee County. That means you. Coming at you with the end of this. I just wanted to do that. What else do you have to say, Jason, about this whole thing? I'm going to bring in a friend of yours here, too, that's been on hold. Just got some information about Union County, because I wasn't arrested in Union County, but they did come after me. A whole swarm of cops came after me in Union County because of Sheriff Thornton and his little pinging my phones, but they didn't get me. They didn't get me. Yeah. So it's funny how these things, I didn't know anything about these counties or these people or these cases. And then you're just like, damn, how do we all know? Well, it's not because of us. Simply put, it's because birds of a feather flock together, and these some crooked asses. So, caller over here at 0181, what can you add to what Jason's saying?
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Never better, brother.
That's good. Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of what you guys were talking about. I agree with most of it and disagree with a piece of it, but the question was asked, why do they do this? Why do they side with the abusive parent or the worst parent or whatever you want to call it? And
yes,
one thing I see that I think really needs to be looked into and is being looked into is when they side with this abusive parent, usually the abusive parent, their morals are already shot, right?
Right.
And typically what you'll see is during this process, if not before, shortly after, the victim, the child, will start getting government assistance. That's what we're seeing up here all across the board. Somewhere along the way, these children are getting placed on government assistance. And I think at this point we can make an argument that there is a massive fraud plan in place that not just includes Department of Health and Human Services, but also some pretty major healthcare providers. And this is just a game. These kids are just a name and an identity at the end of the day that are allowing people to fraud medicate. Or whatever else you want to think of. You know,
Social Security,
sure.
Medicaid, USDA, and believe me, we're going to bring up a little something on Social Security, going to rock it. It is going to rock it, and I'm going to name names. I'm going to name names who did it, because they're already under federal investigation for Social Security fraud. Yeah, and I helped make that happen. You hear that, Lee County? And Wake County, because it's in Wake County. But just you may not want to give your name. Just like, I don't care anymore. I'd rather them take me out than I had to live on my knees and begging and hoping they don't come and shoot me like they did the guy in the hotel hallway. But you've seen things. We met because of cases. We met. And I'll never forget the day that we met. And it looked like my case it was days old. So, and I'm telling you, I had studied so hard and stayed up and didn't sleep, and I saw it. And I saw the funding streams. I followed the money. And I'm sure that whenever I was first talking to this gentleman on the phone, we were writing down stuff, or they were writing down stuff so frantically, it looked like I was a maniac. 501c, nonprofits, this, that, and the other. They're like, what the hell? We're just talking about children. Well, as it all came to be or not?
Yes. Every bit of it. And I was with bad company that day, but, I learned a lot. But one thing, too, you mentioned, how does this happen? And you had mentioned the Wanda Larson case, and you can give some background, or I can't, either one. Wanda Larson, a Union County.
You know it better than I do, because some people listening have no idea about this case until you mention a certain animal, and then they know.
Sure.
And that's the shame of it. And I don't know about this case. I didn't dig into it. I felt like that was your baby, and you helped and brought that thing out. And God, I mean, I don't even know where it stands right now. I think that's an interesting case that we ought to talk about, because I see the thing. You know what? I think the only difference in that county, Union County, North Carolina, and the rest of the counties is that they just haven't got caught yet. That's all. They just haven't had a cop there at the right place at the right time. They just haven't got busted. I think it's systemic. I don't think it's
no. I agree.
This
case is actually going to prove that as this lawsuit marches on. Just to give some background, Wanda Sue Larson was a CPS supervisor for Union County DSS, well known around here, screwed over a lot of families. And eventually that's the case where the little boy was found chained to the porch in the cold with the dead chicken tied around his neck. She and her live-in boyfriend were arrested. She ended up getting a really bad plea deal. Boyfriend's still in jail for a little bit longer. Ultimately, case swept away. But what we learned not long after she was arrested is that there were multiple reports prior to her being arrested. And we have recently, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, finally obtained the civil file for that case involving one of the children from beginning to end. It's probably a 13-year file, nearly 1,000 pages, that honestly included way more than we ever expected it to include.
My God.
A big piece, and a lot of this I can't really disclose at this point, but this I can, a few pieces. Wanda Larson was arrested November 2013. And this is going to come straight from the file. I'm going to read it. I'm going to change the child's name, but other than that, it's coming straight from the file. So Larson was arrested 2013. The file says, in 2011, an investigation was initiated because minor child made statements that we'll say an adult in the house, was humping her, sexually abusing her. In addition, allegations were made that the child and her blanket often smelled, and she was often absent from school. During the investigation, the child made no disclosures of abuse. Here comes the Child Advocacy Center, and that's a whole other 2-hour show.
Oh, my God, yes.
Everybody
I'm glad
knows.
you did that, because you know what? If you guys are in on it, I'm telling you, now you got me revved up. And I don't mean to step on your stuff, brother, but I'm telling you, I will schedule that damn show. I will schedule that joker immediately following this one. I'll schedule it for next Sunday night, and we can go into some Child Advocacy Center and Southeast AHEC shit, because that needs to get out there. It does.
Well,
sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So the child made no disclosures of abuse, and then I'm going to read this straight from the file. Okay, Randy. The Child Advocacy Center was not utilized, as Miss Wanda Larson told the investigator that because minor child had been abused when she was young, that she was too developmentally delayed for an interview to be valid, and she would be traumatized by it. Next sentence.
Oh, my God.
The case is unsubstantiated and closed. So they allowed Wanda Larson, the alleged perpetrator, the DSS supervisor, to silence the victim and then close the case. That's how this shit gets covered up. Or that's how this gets covered up. I'm sorry. They let the perpetrators
It's
run
a shit. You call it what it is. This is shitty. I don't normally do this Future of Our Children radio. I'm sorry. We don't normally. But I'm telling you, fuck them. These people got me pissed. This is insanity. Listen, folks, you're hearing the man read out of a file, and the very woman, if they had done something about this in 2011, it would have never happened. That a little boy in her foster care is there. God, that's sick.
Yes, we've got reports 2011, 2006, 2008, 2009, as many as 9 previous reports on this involving up to 7 other counties. all swept away.
Oh,
and everybody sees this major lawsuit against where this young man with the chicken around his neck and his family, they're suing Union County DSS and Wanda Larson, and us taxpayers of Union County are paying for all of that, legal fees. But this thing's fixing to broaden out big time. But then it goes on after Wanda Larson was arrested. I've even got in this file when she was interviewed by police. And she admits that the house was obscenely dirty. Keep in mind, she got a plea deal after 17 months where the boyfriend was found guilty of everything. Wanda was just basically found guilty of not doing her job, not a failure to release. Wanda quotes, "The night before I came home, the night before they were arrested, the night before I came home, and he had the chicken tied around his neck. The night before."
Oh, my God, the night before.
She didn't record it. When asked what kind of effect this would have on a child, Wanda Larson said, "Bad." When the detective
bad. That's like saying, well, how do you feel, Randy? I mean, they've shot you in the back. And you now have a giant asshole. I feel bad. I'm sad. Hey, look,
yeah, it says.
This is the use of words these assholes use to cover stuff. Bad. Damn. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The detective asked, "You protect kids for a living, but this is going on in your home?" Wanda Larson replied, "Yep."
Yep. Yeah, and let me tell you something. Where is the damn detective? Why isn't he all over the news? And you know what? This guy, who knows what's going on there? He's either been paid off or he's part of it or he's terrified to say another damn word. I'll guarantee it's one or the other because...
Yeah, it's a female detective who 4 days after Wanda Larson was arrested was ruled a conflict of interest by the sheriff and supposedly taken off the case completely. But we have the warrants for the entire thing where this detective remained the lead detective throughout. She ties back to everything here. But to continue, the detective keeps on talking to Wanda Larson. This is the first interview, talking about a knife and cutting the child on the chin and the face. And then the detective said, "So you are not a non-offending parent, correct?" I'm going to repeat that. "So you are not, Wanda Larson, a non-offending parent, correct?" And Wanda Larson replied, "No, I am not."
Oh, my God. So you understand? That is that. So how does she escape? How does it get from that? I mean, is there something else in the interview where she pulled a magic wand out of her ass or something? I mean, I don't understand because the rest of us, we're done right then at that damn point. Our lives are over with. No doubt about it.
In the third interview, Ms. Larson admitted that she witnessed screaming by a minor child while his hand was cut and broken with pliers. She witnessed this.
Broken with pliers?
Admitted. Yes, broke his fingers and cut his hand with pliers, burned his face with electrical wires. She's admitting here that she witnessed all this. And then it goes into this. And here's your cover-up stuff right here. Why? She reported that she earned approximately $55,000 a year working as a DSS supervisor. We're paying that salary. Her live-in boyfriend made almost the same amount of money, so we're at $110,000 monthly income. For one guard, there was 5 children. One of them was a guardianship. That was $181 a month. So there's another $2,400 a year or so. But for the 4 children that she had adopted, she reported receiving $2,400 a month for a total monthly income of what, $155, $160, somewhere in that range. These children did not have food to eat. Per the report I'm reading, these children did not have heat. When the boy was found, it was like 27 degrees. Per this report, they did not have running water. They're making.
What in the hell was she doing with the? What was she doing with the money? Where was the money going? Was she using Tootie on Home Shopping Network and buying every damn thing they put out? I mean, what was this woman doing?
I don't know.
For real.
the guy you had on earlier sent me a file where she had been arrested for writing fraudulent checks and stuff. So I mean, where is the money? You know, the health care file.
Because what you're seeing there too, let me tell the folks here, because you're seeing the income, okay, but then look at the offsets that they get, because when they get these gas vouchers, they get all these other things in order to take the children here, take the children there. Plus, she's an employee of the county. She's a county employee, so she got her benefits there. Well, also look at the tax credit for adoptive children in your home,
right,
for foster children. This woman was going to get, or they say get back, but money she didn't even pay in taxes. She's going to get cut a cool check. That's another stipend. It's going to happen every single year. So this common woman is taking somebody else's children, and here's these other people somewhere. Imagine this, folks. This is what gets me. They're somewhere in a courtroom, like Mariah Woods' dad, Alex Wood, fighting to get their children back, and at the same time, they don't even realize they're being tortured over here with Wanda Sue Larson of Union County, North Carolina. Now, how in God's name can this be happening? Because the state has turned its head. That's why, for those of you who don't know, there was a federal audit in 2000, and the results of it came out in 2009, the first year of the Obama administration. And that was a watch list, if you will, an audit of DSS of North Carolina. Well, there's 14 criteria that they have to meet in regards to removal of children, the care of the children. North Carolina failed 13 of the 14. So there should have been, and by law was supposed to be, another audit within 2 years. Well, there wasn't. The last one really came out around 2015. And guess what? North Carolina improved. Yeah, they had to improve, and they did. They failed all damn 14. How in God's name do you get reamed and then you fail 14? It's because you know nobody's going to mess with you. You know that the foxes are in charge of the fox house, and they invite hens in, which are the little children. It's become a damn industry that would take down the state of North Carolina. We already owe back $41 million Medicaid and $1.7 million, and all these people are scrambling now, creating all of these other little entities to try, we're going to make it regional instead of the 100 kingdoms that they have now. We're going to make it regional so there's oversight. They're worried about that. But here's the problem about these audits. Folks, let me explain what happens. Number one, when they do an audit, because you'd think, my God, Randy, can they fail all 14? It's worse than that, because not every county even gets checked. That's number one. Not every county goes through an audit. So the counties that did, here's the way it works. And this is what my DSS whistleblower has and is telling me. A memo goes out from the government saying, hey, we're gonna audit you, Union County DSS seizure of child people. So pick us 10 cases. So they'll pick the 10 cases. The DSS supervisor goes back there and does it because that DSS director said do it. They purge it, they pretty it up, they edit it. So when you see that they failed 14 of 14, that's after they were allowed to doctor it up and pick their damn 10 best cases. They failed 14 of 14. So how can you be so stupid? For those that are out there, don't bash social workers. Well, number one, if you're going to let me audit myself, essentially, I'm going to guarantee you I'm going to get a gold star, a trophy, a ribbon, be on the news. But they fail 14 of 14 when they're the banker counting the money. How in God's name can you keep going? And who now is over top of this? Who's over the head part of this? Sarah Stevens, North Carolina rep and attorney. That's another part of another show. I'm sure Neil Shelton would like to know. I help, and I'm the attorney in fact for that case and filed it in Surrey County. Neil Shelton suing her ass. Why? Dirty, corrupt, collusion, ain't going to go down. Everything is happening Folks, for those of you don't know, there's 3 of us on here right now that have been going through this all at the same time, watching each other's struggles and learning. And I got to tell you, there was a lot of people in this whenever I got in. I had no idea what had happened. I was scared and terrified. Lord, I remember, what is going on? How can they do this? And then we all have learned. And we're not going to go away. That's the most dangerous of people. We're also going to educate people. And we're going to get their stories out there. That's the only way this is going to change, is to drive it in the court of public opinion, because the absolute despotism in the family law, that is so bad that it should be completely abolished. It is a disaster of epic proportion for families, for religion, for freedom of speech, for everything. There is no good that comes out of it. And these people sit around and, look at me, I'm a social worker. We know who you are. If you could see into their houses, you wouldn't let them babysit your child. But they get to make all the decisions for you and everything. It makes me absolutely cringe. And they put kids in North Carolina, and this is where the whole Lee County thing is going to go, and I've seen it in Sampson and Cumberland. For whatever reason, the sexual abuse stuff is rampant, and they don't do a damn thing about it. As a matter of fact, if you report a sexual abuse situation, they'll come and get you and put the kids with the damn abuser. Am I right about that, caller, or not?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And just to add on to the audit thing for starters, Union County was under a microscope big time for years, and we had our own version of reform in Union County. And good God, I've heard about it for almost 3 years, how great it was. Union County DSS was the mold for the world to follow. We changed our intake program. We created an auditor position. Now, granted, the person we assigned to that auditor position is the same person that protected Larson for all of those years. Who cares? We are the mold for the world to follow. And then the first of this year, 2017, the state comes in, does a new audit, and finds that we're actually worse than we've ever been.
No kidding. I didn't know that. Union County is worse than it's ever been as of this year?
That's right. We put it on TV. We did an interview with the auditor because I wanted her face on TV because she covered for Larson for years. And in her interview, I mean, she looked like an idiot. And basically she said the auditors were stupid and they don't understand. So she blamed the auditors.
They just don't understand. Yeah, it's not the one who made the beans. It's the one who's counting the beans that's crazy. So you've got all these crazy beans jumping around. There are little jumping beans everywhere, and it's not the fault of the person who put the beans in there or the beans. It's the bean counters. It's those dirty, no-good auditors. You know, that's the whole thing, folks. You know, whenever you want to know the truth about something, as kids, we knew. You know, we were very simple because let's count. Let's just count. It's so easy. Let's count. We'll see how you're doing by counting. But with these people, we can't do that. But against you or against me, it wouldn't have been, oh, well, that Mr. Davis, he did bad. It was bad. No, it would have been some awful thing like, to give you an example, folks, let me see. I was praying to China. I was a religious cult leader. I believed in healing, baptizing, an exorcist, and I prayed to my dead Native American ancestors. Yeah. So I said, well, what am I, Jesus? And boy, the whole courtroom just got wild. Nah, you're like, I'm the one, and they're like, well, you're being uncooperative. I said, no, I'm being an ass. And the reason I'm being an ass is I'm not normally an ass, but you people, the only way to talk to assholes is to be one, because you won't understand any other language because you don't follow the rules, you don't do anything. I said, but being an ass does not make me a bad dad. Doesn't make me a bad or unfit parent. The thing about it is the difference is, folks, if you could see, just like what the caller's talking about here, if you could see into the homes of these social workers, you could see into the lives that they lead, the misdirection that they do. If you could see in there, you would understand that their garbage is way worse than ours, and the worst part of it is, it's their job. It's their job. It's their life goal and their career, their livelihood is to protect children and to set a good example. And these people have no idea about laws, due process, nothing. And they do not care. There's a certain part of this, and I'll ask the caller, because some of the new people that are listening, you may not understand it, but if you get a young person and they've been a social worker and you're like, how long have you been a social worker? Oh, 6 months. They have no clue. You get one that's over 4 years there, 4 years. If they made it 4 years and they've been in the family court arena and all of this, these son of a guns are sharks. You can't survive and watch what's going on and be there without it changing you. You know, if you sleep with dogs, you wake up with fleas. And if you go to the whorehouse every day and the whorehouse pays you, sooner or later, you're a hooker. That's just how it is. And this, you cannot, I see people on Facebook all the time, oh, I'm going to go into social work, I'm going to fix it. I'm like, really? Well, I'm going to become a whore so I can shut down the whorehouse. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. You cannot change this that way. People have to come out. You have to be willing to go to jail. You have to do what this caller did. He goes on TV. He makes a call, CNN comes. They put him on TV. They hate him. We all have had to hide for fear of being shot in the damn back. Now, that may seem crazy, but when you got U.S. Marshals involved, you've got law enforcement that's off the hook crazy and running amok. They don't even have the right communications or anything with them. The shit has gotten out of hand. So, you know, just, I don't know what else we do, but before this is over, like I said, we're going to get in a minute, and I'm going to tell what I think is the leading problem and how to fix it, and I do believe it'll work. But what else do you have, caller? What's going on right now other than the lawsuit coming up and the other things that are breaking? What kind of good news? We need to leave somebody with some good news. I'm right now, I want to jump off a cliff myself just here and just remembering what I already knew about the damn thing.
You know, one thing, just to add to what you just said about a social worker, I think you said 4 years. Just here recently, we've had more DSS involvement. I don't even know where it come from. It's my fiance's case and her kid, but we had the privilege of having a DSS worker in our home twice. She's an 11-year social worker who just transferred to Union County. And she sat here, she looked at what we had. Wanda Larson was the supervisor over our old cases. The vast majority of the public thinks that all of Wanda Larson's cases were reviewed after she was arrested. That's not the truth. Her work is still admissible to court today. The 5 kids that were in her home are out getting the help they need and moving on with life, but the kids that she screwed over in her official capacity are still where they were. So we were telling this to this new social worker, and she sat here, she looked at the evidence, she said there's no way this could happen. We have to reopen this old case, right? This is wrong.
Right.
That guy needs to be in jail. I can't believe he's got custody, on and on and on. And so she goes back to the office, tells her supervisors what she's found. This is wrong. We've got to do right. These kids are suffering. The supervisor says, wait a minute. We're not supposed to hear this case anyway. It's a conflict of interest. So they try to ship it out to every neighboring county who also calls it a conflict of interest. It comes back to Union. Supervisor tries to close the case. The caseworker says, no, I've got a job to do. It's to protect kids. I'm going to do my job. Very odd situation.
Wow. Right.
And the caseworker's relaying all of this to us. 100% of it's recorded. She comes back to our house. She is in shock and awe that this has happened to these kids. And then she calls back. We've got a state statute. This is what she tells us. We've got a state statute that we cannot reopen old cases.
Ah, what statute is that? I'd like to know what statute that is.
Well, she says, I've got to come back out to your house one more time to close the case. And my fiance says, well, that's fine. You can come back out to my house as soon as you provide me with that state statute. This was 3 weeks ago. She said, well, I'll have to ask my bosses. And this woman sat in our house and said, I'm not allowed to do my job. I signed up to this job to help kids, and my bosses will not let me do it. We got this recorded.
Right.
So we said, you can come back out as soon as you show us the state statute. Good deal, she says. I'll call you right back. 3 weeks. They have not been able to locate the state statute that says they can't reopen these old cases, and they decided to skip that last home visit and just close the case. And I'm sitting there thinking, if you're not going to follow protocol, we're not the family to be doing that with, for starters. But they're claiming, and I was with Jason last Tuesday with the meeting with the senator, and I told her, I said, you want to reform, and I want to talk about this more. I hope we have time if Jason's still on too. You want to reform, one of the best things you can do is repeal this statute. And I explained it to her, and she says, that sounds like it. What's the statute? No, you tell me.
Wow.
I don't know that it exists.
Let me tell you, too, before you guys get into what happened in the meeting, and we got, there's an ass load of callers. But the whole thing is you will get told so many different things by these agencies. Oh, we have there's a law about that. Well, what is it? Well, it's in our handbook. Oh, it's a policy. Well, yeah, it's a policy. Okay, what is it? Well, I don't know. Well, wait a minute. I have your policy here. And now, oh boy, do they like that one. I got a video of that one, folks. And I want everybody to know that anything that I tell you, this is what I would do. I'm not, and neither is anybody else on here, or Future of Our Children Radio Network. We're not lawyers. We're not attorneys. We're not giving legal advice. But I can tell you something. If I tell you don't go that way because the damn bears are eating everybody that goes down there, that's not giving you legal advice. It's that the damn bears will eat you if you go over there. Now, you can take it, leave it. We just tell you what we see and what we know. You can be naive and think, boy, I'll sign everything and be really nice. Yep, and you know what? You'll just go faster to the demise. You just will not have as much fun as we do. The honest to God thing is they'll make up stuff, and we really don't need new laws. We just need them to follow the ones that are on the books already. That way there wouldn't be any bad cases. But the problem is you can't get your evidence in. You can't call witnesses. You're going to end up with a court-appointed idiot who's going to intentionally sail you down the river. They're going to send you to Dr. McCullough or Dr. Ayala at Carolina Care and Counseling, which that is the biggest whores of the court there are, these so-called psychologists. Then you're going to go to the school. Oh, I need help at the school. And you know what? That social worker's a whore of the court. So is the school. What? They all get paid out of the same bag. You see, when Santa comes, he goes to all of these people and pays them out of the bag. The Child Advocacy Center situation we'll go into, and Southeast AHEC. When you go somewhere to see a so-called doctor, and these folks, you've been forced to go there, and they only have 2 clients. They're in North Carolina, but they only have 2 clients. And their 2 clients are law enforcement and DSS. Oh, boy. You should understand that if you had a doctor that you and your wife were the only 2 clients the doctor has, you're going to get your way with the doctor. The doctor's going to do whatever you ask. That's the situation. Law enforcement has become married with social work, DSS, social services, family court, and the family court is the glue that holds the 2 of them together. So they all get funded out of the same bag. The money flows in, and as long as they can keep this scandal up, they'll keep defrauding people out of their Social Security money. They're taking our Social Security money. But, yeah, get back into what you were doing there. I don't want to jump on another show already anyway.
Yeah, Jason, I just messaged you, so if you object to any of this, just tell me to stop.
Go ahead,
we did have a meeting Tuesday with Senator Behringer. She was gracious enough to meet us, or dumb enough, I don't know. But, for starters, guys, if we're all working public jobs and we're getting an audit every 2 years, whatever, and every 2 years our audit gets continuously worse, what's going to happen? We're going to be fired, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all agree to that? But in North
Yes,
Carolina, we've got a child, what's it called? It's not Child Protective Services, but whatever it is, director who's been there for 36 years. And, I see this caseworker sitting in my home who's very honest. She seems passionate about what she does. She wants to help children. She's not being able to. And I'm starting to think, maybe the problem's not at the bottom, but it's at the top, where you have the guy in Raleigh, Wayne Black's been there for over 30 years. You've got these executive directors who, it's like musical chairs with executive directors, especially here. We have an assistant county manager running executive director most of the time, which is a conflict of interest, as Jason's pointed out. But to get back to the meeting with Behringer, we're talking about rules and laws, and she makes the comment that there's so many rules and laws pertaining to DSS that not one person can understand any of them, which is insulting to me.
You need to take my ass to see her because she evidently doesn't understand. As a matter of fact, I think I got it on video where they said, "Oh my God, nobody knows the laws like you do, Mr. Davis," in a DSS meeting. I said, "The problem is you don't," and they don't.
Well, before I
she openly admitted. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Before I could even open my mouth, Jason had told her, "Look, I've read all the 7Bs. I've read the 870-something pages of DSS guide. We know it," And I'm sitting here thinking, what can we expect from this reform when the co-chair of the reform committee openly, our working group as she now calls it, openly admits she does not understand how DSS operates or is supposed to operate. This is a waste of tax dollars. It's going to end up like the mental health care debacle in North Carolina, which is a just massive failure. Nothing good's going to come from this. Now, granted, it might throw some shade and cover for the next audit, but the end result's going to be a failure. I know it. You guys know it. And at some point, somebody's got to say, stop this shit. We're going backwards.
Yeah, I see it. And look, what's doing it is children dying. And now I got to commend the Federal Observer because there are 120 child deaths. They're looking into them. All 120 had CPS involved in the year prior. How in the world
I need that story, Randy, if you can.
And I'll get it to you, buddy. I'll get you some more that's coming, too, because gag orders. We've all been gag ordered. They tried to gag order me. I told them to roll it up and shove it up their ass and keep me in jail. And I mean that. I mean that, Lee County. I know you're going to show this in court, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to bring out all the evidence. It's going to be ugly on you. And wait, too. But the thing about it is to know, and I, having been in sales, having been a motivational speaker, I was a trainer. I taught people. But I saw two things I saw in management, especially with bad managers, and that was that they would never teach you anything. They felt that, well, if I tell you everything I know and you put that with everything you know, then you'll know more than I know. And so they were self-conscious about it. They didn't feel like it was good because they may lose their job. I tried to teach everybody around me how to take my job. I wanted to move to a different level. But here's the way it worked in the business of sales. And this is what I'm seeing with it. What you do is you find the person in the sales organization. You don't want to take one of your champions off the floor because he's making money for the company. So you take a damn dingbat and you make them the manager over everybody because you're not going to lose anything. You don't lose anything if you take a numbnuts off and put them up there. And if they look good, they sound good, they sound like they have a good story like Behringer does. Oh, I've been big in foster. Look at my foster children on the wall. Oh, yeah, your foster children may do good. But why don't we do a thing of rotating chairs and everybody switch off and go live in the other foster house for a little while? See how it is there, like when my daughter's calling me screaming, or when they're taking her to 2 bars at 16 years old, and I got GPS tracking on her, and she's on Bragg Boulevard, near the 82nd Airborne, the kitty clubs. Yeah, to go sing at the Drunk Horse, and then went to the rock shop. And then whenever I called them, they were mad at me because I GPSed them. You tell me how this can possibly happen. Sexual abuse is being covered up, but for whatever reason, we're in a good time now, because when all of us folks, you listeners out there, the Future of Our Children Radio Network and the Watchman, us three have seen it, and we have seen, I'm not blowing smoke when I tell you things are changing now. They are, and we're making it change. There's some of us that'll stick it out there and tell them, you know what, damn it, I'd rather die than to have you hold my neck to your sword and force me to sit by while another day goes by and you do this to somebody and you hurt another child. And unfortunately, it's taking the deaths of children like Mariah Woods in order to really get it out there. But a bigger part is maybe Behringer doesn't know. But I can tell you, for those of us that are talking here, we all went to everybody. So when you got it in your mind, boy, I'll get with my rep. I'll get with my senator. Oh, I'll contact this one. I'll do that. I'll go to the governor. I'll write the president. You know what? You screwed yourself right there. You can go up the chain of command and play good all you want to. And you think, if I could just let them know, nobody would want this to happen. Nobody would let this happen. This is so egregious what's happening to me. They know already, folks. I'm going to hit you in on something. These assholes know. You voted them in. You voted them in, and they're doing exactly what they intended to do, which is sell you out. Their job is to stay in office. That's it. That's all, and to make sure that the money keeps falling into the hands of the coffers of North Carolina through DHHS. I am not kidding you. You're not going to create an awakening in the governor, or an awakening in the attorney general, or an awakening in the DHHS secretary, because they damn know. You've got to go out here and hit them where it hurts. You know where that's at? In the news. And they're going to try to gag order you, just like they're trying to scare grandparents that I'm helping right now, Lee County. And want to subpoena records, subpoena this. But you know what? When they pull the dog's tail, they're going to get bit, because when you pick up the stick, you pick up both ends. I intend to blow the evidence out in the Lee County case that we'll talk about in a few minutes. But, man, damn. I don't think I've ever been this emotional on a show. And let me, look, I don't want either one of you. Can both of y'all still stay on here while I bring on 2 people that have been on for a little while and see what they want to say?
Well, hang on real quick, Mr. Davis. I just want to finish up about the meeting. Okay.
Go, yeah, now,
it wasn't just
get on to that.
It wasn't just me. It wasn't just the caller. It wasn't just my wife. And it wasn't just Jennifer Yagoda in that meeting. We had a reporter with us as well. Now, Senator Behringer, she begged this reporter to have it off the record and not record this conversation that we had with her. She did not.
Why would a public official want to have, you know my theory about it, guys, and y'all have heard me say it, and that is people with nothing to hide nothing. Simple. So why do you think she didn't want it on the record?
Because this was supposed to be a personal meeting. But she did not ask the 4 of us to keep this off the record. So this meeting, it was recorded. She does not know it was recorded because she did not tell the 4 of us to be quiet about it.
She does now. I can damn tell you she does now, because they watch everything I do, and I will show it to y'all before this is over. Go ahead.
But she also brought up about the child fatalities. We didn't bring it up. She brought it up. And she knows that there's 95-plus child fatalities in social services. But she doesn't know where or how. So how are you going to be the chair of this? It's not a committee, according to her. It's a working group. Big difference. But she doesn't know where these child fatalities happened or anything, but she knows that there's more than 95. Her words.
And folks, let me tell you something. She knows there's more than 95. That sounds very precise. Look, It doesn't matter what battalion or what unit of the 82nd Airborne is right now. Somebody knows where every one of them men are. Every single one. They're up in the mountains of Kandahar. They're all over Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia. They're in places that there's no communications, but somebody knows where they are. Now, let me ask you, how in the hell can you not know where little kids are that you took them from homes that they had families and grandparents and parents and brothers and sisters, but some of them, nobody even knows where they are. Some of them, there's no accounting for them. They're just quote-unquote missing. Can you imagine what would happen if you didn't send your child to school and you're like, well, I don't know, I got 8 of them and I'm missing 2. Hell, hey, dude, you're not going to get an award for that. You're not going to get to put pinwheels out every year on the damn lawn out there and go, look, we're social workers. This stuff's got to stop. This stuff has to stop. You cannot, this is another axiom of mine, but you cannot manage what you do not measure. So you've got to measure what's happening to the kids. Let me tell you a little example here. I did not know this, and Leslyn Davis sent it in a graph, and it was that 75% of the inmates incarcerated right now, 75% of those inmates were in foster care. Were in foster care. I know there's 75%. Over 80% of those on death row were in group homes or foster care. That's insane. There's something going on in there. And less than 50% of the kids in foster care graduate. They just drop out. So you tell me what it's doing. All this money should be used for Social Security. It should be used to help families to get back up, to fix whatever problems DSS wants to say. But they don't. It's an industry. It's a huge industry. All right, guys. Well, you two, tell us what your plans are. Let's do it in about 3 minutes. That'll leave me 30 minutes to bring on the other 2 callers and to smash the hammer down on William Lake County.
You got anything?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay. Up here, we're just waiting some stuff out. We've got some big media stories in the works. I think around February, on TV, we're doing what's called a grand expose on the failures of DSS and the failures as far as protecting children in North Carolina. Ms. Behringer may have thought the record was off record, and she may have slipped up and told us stuff she wasn't supposed to, but she's an elected official of North Carolina, and there is nothing off the record. So we're putting this thing together. Should air in February. We'll have a lot of other stories out between now and then. And we look to be making some pretty big waves up here soon. So as it comes out, I'll pass it on to you, Randy, or Jason will pass it to you. He seems to get it quicker than I do sometimes. So we'll keep you in the loops. But a lot of good stuff coming from Union County.
Good. And Jason, what else do you have to add before I click over and figure these other guys out and get after Lee and Wake County?
As far as I go, it looks like I have another meeting scheduled in March with Behringer, and hopefully the caller and a couple other people will be showing up as well, since that's when this first part of the working group will be done. Here in Onslow County, I can tell you for a fact, because of this Mariah Woods case, the county manager has been getting bombarded with phone calls. The director of DSS, she knows her head's on a platter. Next county commissioners meeting, I do plan on asking for her termination and have full investigation into the department. And so far, it looks like I do have the full support of the county commissioners to make this happen.
Good. And, folks, I want to tell y'all, think about what these guys are doing. They don't have a dog in the fight. Why are they doing it? Why am I doing it? You know what? Because, number one, I haven't been in business. If I didn't produce, I never got a check. I never got an hourly wage. Never. I always had investors. And I can tell you, you get paid off of P&L. So every month, you're a hero to a zero. Doesn't matter what you did last month. If you don't produce, your ass is gone. Imagine you making a fist and sticking it down into a bathtub full of water. yank your fist out, and as fast as the water fills the hole, that's how fast they'll replace you. Now, why is it we've got these heads of this that are over DSS up in Raleigh, like the caller talked about? Why is he there 36 years? Why is he there 36 years of failure? You can't get any worse. You know what? Because if he leaves, somebody else comes in. If they're a new guy and they're enthusiastic, they're going to catch everything that's happened, and the whole house of cards falls. So they have to keep, it's almost like royalty, as we hand it down, and they hand it off to the next most corrupt guy. And that way, the corruption keeps going. That's what a swamp is really all about. And I can tell you, I'm not going to go away. I'm going to expose the hell out of them. I'm going to expose them. I feel like it's my job. I've given up my career just to do this. Why? Because Fridays, every time they came after me, it was on a damn Friday. They yanked children on Fridays. Why? You got 2 days with no lawyers you can contact, no judge you can get with, no court. It's not accidental. They lie, they cheat, they steal, and they think they're immune, but they're not immune. They're not immune. So I want to thank both of the callers here, and guys, if y'all will hang on in case somebody has questions, that would be great. If not, we definitely are going to schedule I don't know if we're going to call it a CAC meeting, advocacy meeting, whatever, but we're going to have, I'm going to, after this show's over with, I'm going to go ahead and set up next week's The Watchman, and we'll all plan it this week and get the stuff together. And I hope to be able to watch something after talking with you guys that will just blast their asses and put them all on standby. I'll take all the heat. But I'm going to bring on caller 1313. You've been waiting for a while. 1313. Last four digits. Yeah.
Me?
You're wide open, yes.
Hey, Randy, it's Kathy.
Hey, Kathy, how are you doing?
Living the life of DSSL.
Yeah, as are many of us. And look, folks, for those of you who don't know, I try to do everything that I can. I feel guilty because I can't help Kathy more. I can't get more involved because there's so many things going on trying to attack me. It takes away from my time. But I want everybody to know, Kathy, if you could give like a quick kind of overall of your case. I want to find people that can help you with me, and I'll kind of help watch over it too, because yours is another situation. I'll recommend everybody goes wide open out there with theirs, but I don't see yours getting any better unless you fight it by exposing it all. I really don't, because it doesn't seem to matter who says you're good or whatever you do. Like many of us, it's just that they want to destroy you.
Yes. Well, we started off a year ago in October. I have 5 children, and my wife and I, moved to North Carolina to hide from my ex-husband, who was physically, mentally, and sexually abusive to myself and all 5 of my children. We were hiding here in North Carolina. All 5 of my children do suffer from PTSD, ADHD, ODD. My youngest we've autism. They've been, since we've lived in North Carolina now for 3 years, they've been in counseling. We have had our fair share of DSS calls. We've had many calls due to the fact of people not liking same-sex marriages. So we got
folks, let me tell you, in case you're not catching what Kathy's saying when she said, my wife and I, and my ex-husband, she's in a same-sex relationship. So you're going to have some of these other ones, like Orhole. You will have ones out there that like to try and bash me, call me a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, whatever. That is bullshit, number one. You see, whenever it comes to civil rights, everybody should have civil rights. Nobody should be singled out. And Kathy will tell you It is not even an issue with me. It is about those children and them being in the safest environment where they already know. And the things that she's went through, such as she can only get most of us know, don't get a damn psych evaluation from the one they make you get. But what happened? Did the judge have one particular person you could get your psych evaluation from, and what happened? Tell a little bit about that part of it, for example, Pat.
We had already gotten psych evals from our regular doctors, but we went and got one done by his psych evals, who he thinks the world of, and his psych eval had to go. My lawyer actually had him go to court because we have 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. After several calls from to DSS about my boys on the fact that we make them rake the yard and we're told that was abusive. We send them to bed early as abusive. We make them do exercise and we're told that's abusive. We cut their hair as abusive. Our youngest is autistic, and he was in the process of being tested for the spectrum chart for his autism, for his impulses of stealing. And his therapist, I had a meeting with him for sibling rivalry issues between the brothers that were 9 and 10. And he called DSS on for the sibling rivalry. When DSS came out, there was no abuse around. I have 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. The DSS worker told my wife and me that boys belong being raised by boys and girls belong being raised by girls. When she came in the house to look, she saw that there was a hook on the wall next to the door. Nathaniel, the youngest, is autistic, and at night he wanders. The doctor and I have doctor's notes, and she went to court, had told me to try and put a lock on the door at night while he slept, because he would go outside and sleep with the chickens or climb on the roof. The lock did not work. Within 20 minutes during the day of installing a eye hook on the door, I was brought the eye hook. So they would never lock the door. It didn't work. But the latch was hanging on the wall. So At night, when she was here, she saw it. It was not workable. We took pictures. And I told her the doctor recommended it. She wrote it up. I refused to sign a safety report because she wrote that it was there. And she wrote that we're locked in the room. So I refused to sign the safety report because that was not it. And I had a doctor's report that stated the doctor recommended it, but it was not workable. She came back the next night and said that was accused of being abusive and medically neglective. But they took my 3 boys, but not my 2 girls. Now, we've been fighting for a whole year. They took my 3 boys. I still, to this day, have my 2 girls. The psychologist that the court ordered cleared me, said that the psychologist who took my boys made lies of everything up of what the boys were saying, because they're now saying that I brainwashed my boys, that they were never abused by their father, that we moved here and I abused my kids and hid them from their father, and that I go medical hopping to make them sick. But, and the psychologist that the judge wanted said that I have all the legal documents and everything stating that DSS is lying on me. And the judge would not even listen to his psychologist, and instead of going with his psychologist, my therapist, everything else, he took my boys away from me, all visitation, all rights, everything. But
even though you have his psychology report, and it was from his psych doctor, and this is the thing, we need to do more, and today's show is not the right arena to get it all the way out there, but and I'm going to mute everybody out except me for right now, because I'm going to bring on this one last caller. And caller, you're 9347. I'll explain in just 1 second, Kathy, where I'm headed with this, and I think you'll like it. But 9347.
That's me.
Are you there?
I am.
All
Can
right.
you hear me?
9347. Yes, rev it up.
Hey, Randy.
How are you doing?
It's Patty. How are you doing?
Patty, I've never been better. You know how I live. I live like the life of Riley.
All right. What I want to tell y'all is to get to the present, you have to go back to the past, okay? If you're wondering why all of these people are still in office, go back to Sarah Parker, okay? She was the number one cahooch in this. The number one top-notch judge, okay? She knocked Judge Carroll off the bench in Wilmington, North Carolina. I might get in jail after this, so please bail me out, okay? She knocked John Carroll off the bench, put Judge Corporation up there, and that's when all hell broke freaking loose with this DSS in Wilmington, North Carolina. And the reason why I know all this is because I studied my own case, because our attorney, a Pollock attorney, was Mark Hayes, and he learned under Sarah Parker, okay? So what you're dealing with is, you're wondering why all these people are still in office. That's why they're in office. She had to resign because I think there's like an age thing, 75 years old or something in North Carolina, that you cannot be the head chief judge of North Carolina. So here came Governor McCrory and put Martin up there. And I thought, hey, there might be some change here, okay, right? I even voted for him. But now, if you're seeing change, maybe in North Carolina, maybe he is making a difference. I don't know. But I know change takes time. So, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. Y'all need to go back. If you're wondering why all these people are still in office, that's why they are still in office. And I don't know. It's just, and right after I had to face Judge Carroll, and Judge Carroll was very nice to me, and it wasn't long after Judge Carroll helped me that he suddenly died of pancreatic cancer. But I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to insinuate anything. The man probably did have pancreatic cancer. But what I'm telling you is that this corruption, if you want to go back to Bev Perdue, Sarah Parker, and all of those.
It goes deep. There is no doubt that this goes really deep, folks. And for those of you who don't know, Patricia Raymond has been so good to me. She has. And, unfortunately, I can't help everybody all the time, but I've never, ever given up on her situation, even though it may look like it's hopeless, because she doesn't even know it right now. But there's people that have been on the lines tonight and listening who have overturned adoptions after years. So not to just cut Patty off, and I don't mean that, but I want to have a full 15 minutes to bring out a very urgent call to action involving Lee and Wake County, North Carolina. I'm going to tell you a little bit of stuff I wish, and by next week's show, you do not want to miss next week's show, because I've been digging through the stacks, and this is only a little bit of what I got out of there that I want to show. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because there are things that people hear me say, but they don't see them. But I want to have some of these documents scanned in, and my brother Ted Fogg here, I'm going to scan these things in along with recorded phone calls, video recording, and you can go to my YouTube channel and see about 200 videos already. But I want to have Ted next week so that we can like juxtapose a picture of me telling you what I'm about to show you, along with the actual document. And then have voice clips clipped in to either Blog Talk with Future of Our Children Radio Network or the Ted Fogg series that he's doing there on Zoom. And I got to tell you, more than will listen. A lot of people will listen during the week, and you pick up a lot of listeners. But just to give you a little example, and this is one of the warrants. One of the warrants that was done against me, and you'll see it's done by Sheriff Jimmy Thornton, Sampson County. It's for obstruction of justice. That's my whole warrant right there. I'm not hiding my address. I'm not hiding anything. My birth certificate as a Croatan Indian is online. Now, if you'll notice, though, this is what's so good. You see that? That is a dismissal. Yeah, I got several of those. But obstruction of justice, why am I saying that? Because in one of the videos, Sheriff Thornton of Sampson County, he's running for re-election, and he is a piece of shit. Corrupt, non-constitutional bastard. What he did to my daughter and I, they may think or have thought they got away with something. But I assure you, damn never get away with anything with me. He gave me a hard-on for all of them. I started digging. I started learning. This guy, in one of his videos, he said, well, we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. We pinged your phones. We did this, that, and the other. We can go anywhere we want, any way we want. We cleared it with Ernie Lee, the DA of the 4th District. Ernie Lee. Why is that name, and why is obstruction of justice? The reason I obstructed justice in that particular case, he said, because I hung up my phone on him. You didn't know that you can't hang up your own cell phone? I never even proved I hung up my phone, but if I had, it's my damn phone. His is paid for by me. Mine is not paid for by this little short asshole. Now, Ernie Lee is the same DA that in the Mariah Woods now has charged the stepfather, Earl. Well, what did they charge him with? They didn't charge him with murder. They charged him with the same damn thing that Thornton went to him and supposedly got his blessing to charge me with, obstruction of justice. Why? The simple fact is, in a criminal investigation, it makes sense to do something like that because you're going to then, once you get a charge on somebody, you can go in and dig and root. Well, I can understand it in a murder situation, but to just make one up, that's called malicious prosecution. Oh, that's ugly. It only takes a few things to... You would think 8 damn charges against Randy and his daughter's on the FBI missing and exploited children's list, and got juvenile petitions against her for being undisciplined. You would think we lost all those. Represented ourselves, won them all. We're not that smart. We are not that damn smart. The issue is this, and this is where I'm headed with what it is. I want to talk with these other guys about how do we put a stop to this corrupt shit. Number one, and then I'm going to get to you, Lee, and Wake counties. I haven't forgot you, assholes. The main thing is the reason that this is happening in family court, and it doesn't matter if it's divorce court, it's family court, it's any court of equity. They're called courts of equity. There is no oversight. It's done on statute, case law, not common law, not constitutional law, not law of the land. This crap is carried out because essentially you've just got an administrator sitting in there. And they're going to do you any way they want to. But the big key is this. How could we win? Because unlike most, we went on the offensive to start with. Sadly, what happens is, and it's human nature, They come at you, whether it's family court with a mother versus a father, or it's family court with DSS or CPS, and now they're using these things. Law enforcement is using these as reasons that, well, we were assisting DSS, so we just went and searched all your shit. The Fourth Amendment, poof, right out the window. And they're back and forth tuning into one another's little radar and using each other in order to violate our civil rights. Where Randy Davis comes down on this, the Watchman, let this be heard. The way we're going to defeat this is the constitutional rights violations. We have to put it all out there. Why? There's no transparency. Everything is confidential. What does confidential mean? It doesn't mean that they can gag us like they're doing in Lee County, Wake County. They can't do it, not legally, and we've got to bust their ass. Why does it matter? Because there are cases right now that I've watched, and the case is an open and shut case. The problem is there's zero evidence on it, zero. We call it exculpatory. Exculpatory evidence means the evidence showing you're not at all whatever they have deemed you to be, whether it's a respondent, a criminal, it doesn't matter. But the problem is if you don't get the evidence into court, and it's not in the court record, and you don't raise objections, you can't even win on appeal. You see, you can have the best case in the world, but if nobody ever knows it, you're not going to win it. So I'm just going to tell you right now where I'm headed with it, and I want to get suggestions from everybody. I hope Ted Fogg will play along with my plan, because once we're very good at this, I have documentation from cases that will scare y'all to death, including my own. And it's how brutal, how deceptive and coercive and manipulative family court is and law enforcement. But the way we're going to get this, it's just like John Livingston killed up there in Harnett County, shot in the back 6 times, went to the wrong house, killed a man. Cops, no charges. They can do whatever they want, they think. Not in the court of public opinion. And what I'm going to say is this: instead of doing, shows where people just come on and they talk all over each other and yell and scream, we're going to get valid educational information out there. We're going to get all the players. It doesn't matter, because the key to this is to know the players, know what the real laws are, know what your rights are, and then make them every single week. You send them something. I flooded them with emails. I want my daughter home. Please tell me why I don't have her. You send that out there. Somebody's got to answer you. You have it on the record. We've got to show everybody how to document. So what I want to do is, since they're already threatening me, Lee and Wake County both have, open court in Wake County when I'm court watching, I was the only guy in the courtroom. The only guy. Everybody else, including the respondent mother, was up front. There's not even a bailiff back there with me. Big old courtroom. And the clerk over there said, "Well, Your Honor, maybe you need to address them about recording." So I'm sitting down in the courtroom. I'm looking at the judge. As a matter of fact, it's Judge Keith Gregory. Yeah, he was in the Marty Coleman case that was on Dr. Field. Judge Keith Gregory. And he looks over there, and he's looking around like he's looking at everybody in the courtroom. I'm the only damn one there. He says, "Yes, I'd like to admonish the court that there'll be no recording. There can't be any recordings. Nobody can record, and there's a sign outside," which there wasn't. And I'm looking around like, what? Who is he talking to? It's so funny. You had to have been there. And I'm like, what? And then they proceed, and they pull out all of these pages. These pages are screenshots of Facebook, YouTube videos, all of mine. Rev It Up homepage, all of this, Rev It Up. They proceed, and I am not kidding you, GAL attorney, DSS attorney starts pounding the respondent mother, while her shitty-ass, no-good James Hunt attorney court appointed, 40 months, never objected, never had but one visit in his office with her. Which he's now fired, by the way, which was a hard thing to do, but his ass is shit can. Now they still won't give Melissa McDonald her discovery. Why not? Because there was no case to start with, but we're coming after you, Wake County. Oh, you're involved in the Lee County thing too, but that's going to be in a minute. But as I watched this, at no time do they ever see, or is she allowed, because of this shitty attorney and the whole game they're playing out there, she's not allowed to show that she's done everything on the list, everything in the case plan, everything. Taken over 20 drug tests, 20 of them, LabCorp. Neil Shelton knows about LabCorp. Who works for them? Sarah Stevens. Yeah, she writes the laws and then as you go do them. Well, she never failed one. Not once. Not one time. Not even hair follicle. But why do they keep making her do them? Well, it pays Sarah Stevens, for one thing. That's another issue that's going to come up. Why can't she get her own records? Oh, they come up with a lot of different things, but they're going to give those records. Believe me, they're going to give those records. So the reason nothing's happening is because it's not going public. Because here's the catch-22. As I thought about this, because Lee County, Tron Falk, attorney for Lee County, DSS attorney Tron Falk. Like, you remember the movie Tron? Well, Tron has decided, just like up there where they're questioning the mother about what does rev it up mean? What does rev it up mean? In a court of law, I'm about to pee my pants because they're all up there and I can't say anything. I'm just sitting out there. So rev it up, rev it up, rev it up. What is rev it up? Well, rev it up. I'm going to show you assholes what rev it up means. You don't want none of rev it up. I'm going to tell on you. I'm going to do what you do. I'm going to be a mandated reporter. And what I'm reporting right now is this. Lee County and Wake County, March 13th, 2017. March 13th. Mandated reporters had contacted, and it was filed. The intake reports were accepted. Twin little girls, 8 years old, residents, Lee County. Sex abuse. Medical records show it. Diagnoses show it. It'll make you damn mad if you're a human being and you knew. What do they do? Lee County tells Wake County, hey, don't you do yours. We've got one. Let's make it information only. They do. And the next day, the mother of these two little girls, who she's never had custody, DSS doesn't have any paperwork to yank them from school or to take them, and there's no petition been done, so what does Lee do? Tron Falk and the social workers, they decided they'll have the mother illegally go against the custody order the father's already won and snatch them from school because they don't have paperwork. Then they deny the father the school records. You know how I am on FERPA. We're going to bitch slap you on the FERPA now. We're going to get some of that. I'm going to get some of that, Tron. I told you, Lee County going to be my bitch. Wake County, though, you're involved in it, too. Why? You did the home study on the son of a bitches over there where you put them right back. 8, assault on females. Assault on a minor under 12. Under 12. Yeah, and the very mother and her raggedy-ass dad who you placed him with, he's had his truck shut all up, his own kids in the backyard in a guest house, which is a damn shed. A shed. He's had all kinds of conflicts, assaults, and everything else. Nothing at all going on where these kids have lived their whole damn life. You disrupt them. You illegally put them into school over there. McKinney Vento, didn't like it when I showed up to a PPAT. Like this shit when I show up in court. I believe Judge Joy Jones is a good judge. She's a conservative judge. And I think, too, she had no choice but to rule any way that she has ruled so far. But the reason why Fred Webb, another sorry-ass appointed attorney who didn't divulge to the parent that he used to employ the foster mother merely. And he also represented her in a divorce. And he also represented her in a civil case for brain injury. So there's a brain-injured woman taking care of children over there. They don't give a damn about that. They don't care that they placed them into the other. They don't care that they hid this. They illegally done it, waived a 7-day hearing. I'm coming at your ass. December 19th, Lee County, Lee Dam County and Wake County, Lee County Courthouse, Lee County, Sanford, Lee Dam County, Tron Falk. Come and get some of Rev It Up. And that's about it I got for tonight. I do thank everybody that was in my callers. You know how I am. I love you all. I thank Ted Fogg, and I hope that he will help me so that we can show evidence. I want to show the real evidence. I want to show this shit out there and have these people go down for it, brother. So thank you all for tuning in. This has been Future of Our Children Radio Network. I'm Randy Davis, the Watchman, and we will see you next time. I got to give full credit to Philly Slim, The Battle. Philly Slim, The Battle. That was the music that we listened to going in. And I'm not going to play any music going out. I'm just going to tell you I love you all. Hope that you have a great week. Kick some ass. Rev it up. If you need anything at all, get in touch with me or somebody that knows me, and I'll do the best that I can. Peace out.